Hello, 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 and welcome to a special edition of Reality Rights, live from Leavenworth, Washington. I am author Ellie Alexander. This is the podcast where we talk about all things bookish, writerish, and today it's beerish. And I'm here with the tech guy.
Yeah, here in Leavenworth doing some research.
What?
Always got to do the research.
What does your research involve? So let's back up and tell our darlings that yesterday I had a book signing at a Book for All Seasons, which is the most incredible independent bookstore in Leavenworth, Washington. Actually, like on the planet, if you're really asking. And while I was working so diligently, such hard work to have to meet readers and sign books, you, on the other hand, were doing what?
I was investigating the local businesses.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And what would those businesses entail?
Breweries.
Oh, okay, good.
All the breweries. No, there are actually two here that are my favorites, and readers of the Sloan Krause series may recognize them. Icicle Brewing, which is Dirk Keller in the Sloan Krause Mysteries, and then Blewett, which is a newer brewery. Well, I mean, it's been open for years now, but it was newer than Icicle, and it is Nitro come to life.
It's so cool. I know. When I first started writing the series, that brewery did not exist, and I had obviously created Nitro as a pure figment of my imagination. And then fast forward a few years later, we show up and here it is in real life.
I know, and we were blown away. It was late fall. It was cold out, and we were walking around in the town, and we just came across it and went inside. And while we were sitting there looking at the menu, I just kind of started looking around, and I said, I think this is Nitro.
Are we at Nitro? How did that happen?
And it looks exactly like you wrote it. So
I know.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. So on this episode, we want to give you a little bit of the sights and sounds of Leavenworth, talk about what it's like to actually be on a book tour, doing a book event, and then how I always try to weave in research for that too. And the tech guy helps by giving me his notes on his beer tasting. And I also want to answer some of your most burning Sloan Krause mystery questions, because let me tell you, darlings, I get feedback far and away more about Sloan and when and if she's ever coming back than anything else.
Yes, I can attest. The messages come in very often. People are very insistent that they want another Sloan,
which I love. Yeah.
So let's start by asking the question that everybody wants to know: is there going to be another Sloan Krause mystery?
There is going to be another Sloan Krause mystery. You're hearing it here first, darlings. The issue is I don't know when, which is the sad teaser. And I'm honestly not trying to be a tease about it. It's structural. Like, part of my vision is that we would probably release the entire series so that it's all like in one format, as we've talked a lot about on this podcast. Publishing in general is switching up so much in terms of mass markets going away. In fact, at the book signing yesterday, there was still a juicy little stack of Death on Tap and mass market. I'm like, how did you find these? Should I just take them all home with me? And they're like, no, we want them. So there's that vision. And once that process happens, then I will release book 7. But part of being here, especially in the springtime, is my vision for book 7 will pick up where the shorts last left off, which will be Spring in the Village. It will involve some kind of wedding festivities. That's my little teaser on what the content will be. For long-term Sloan fans, you know what I'm talking about. But the other thing is, I think it's important, if you're writing about a real place, or even if you're writing about a fictional place, but you're taking pieces of the real world, to come see it at different times of the year and experience it in different seasons and different levels of busyness. For a place like Leavenworth, where it's so festival centric, we've been here for the last few days. It's spring. Everything is so lush and green. You were literally playing The Sound of Music.
Right. We were walking down the street yesterday. For those watching, you can see the maypole behind us in the center of the square, and it was just amazing.
I know. They're piping in the sound, and we're like, is this real? Bird song everywhere, blooms. It does feel like you are living a scene from The Sound of Music. So there's that piece, and also the rhythm and flow of what's it like to be in the village when it's just kind of a quiet Saturday weekend versus maybe Mayfest or Oktoberfest or one of the big festivals. So I always love to do that, even if I'm not specifically working on a book at that point in time, just to take copious notes and pictures and videos that I can reference back to when I am then deep in the throes of writing a first draft.
Yeah, yeah, and it's been really interesting being in Leavenworth this time. We've been here many times. Leavenworth's getting a glow up.
Yeah, it is. Woo.
Yeah, I mean the just the unit, the wood that we're sitting underneath right now, all of this whole rooftop section here, this patio overlooking the main square is all brand new. They're doing construction on the main boulevard in front of all the shops along the main thoroughfare there, and it's going to be this gorgeous stamped concrete that looks like bricks. We were talking at the new Welcome Center just yesterday, where we saw Death on Tap.
Yeah, they're featuring Death on Tap at the Welcome Center in Leavenworth. Like, how amazing is that?
Yeah, but they told us that they're doing a bunch of improvements along the main boulevard where they're adding in new trees and pedestrian paths and everything. It's just, the Leavenworth was amazing before, but it is continuing to add the features and all the bells and whistles.
The pro for me is also just getting a really hyper local focus from writing, because wherever we're going, whether it's at the Welcome Center or at the bookstore, or if we're talking to our server at Blewett Brewing last night, I'm trying to pick up all those little tidbits of insider information. And the tech guy gets irritated at me at some point because I'm always like, who do you want to kill off?
Right.
Where should I hide a body? I'm already thinking that this concrete that they're building, I mean, somebody could, I'm just saying, I'm not making any promises, but it's a possibility.
No, every shop we're in, every restaurant we go to, eventually the conversation leads to murder.
I know.
Which is great when for the person that you're talking to, but I'm standing behind just watching the people walk by that are just picking up on sentences in the conversation and don't they don't know the context from the beginning, that she's a mystery author, that she's talking about killing people fictionally, everything. So there are some eyes as people are walking by, they're just like, oh, did you hear what she said? And it's just, it is pretty hilarious. But surprisingly, on this trip, no one was willing to give anyone up. It sounded like, for the most part, that everyone coming to Leavenworth from a tourist perspective has been pretty lovely with all the employees and workers here, which is really good to hear.
It's great to hear, except it's not so great to hear from a mystery lady perspective, because I need the juice.
Right.
But this tracks back for any darlings who are writers, and I talk about this a lot when I'm coaching new writers or in my Mystery Series Masterclass course, which is just, I know it's hard to put yourself out there, especially as a newbie writer potentially, and I remember that feeling too, but bring a notebook, bring your phone, bring whatever, just take notes furiously once you're finished with the conversation. But if you ask people, they are usually so willing to share their stories. They want to talk about the places they love. They want to give you little insider tips about other places to go visit, or potential little out of the way nooks and crannies that you might be able to use in your story setting. So it's always worth asking, I think.
Definitely. Well, and you get, I think absolutely the local perspective.
Yes.
Which, no matter how many times you visit a place, you can't learn all of that. So you have to pick the brains of the people, if they're willing, and talk about murder.
And just do a little murder chat.
Do you want to talk about what brought us here on this particular trip, in terms of A Book for All Seasons and what they've done?
Yeah, this is another thing, and we've done a variety of podcasts about the importance of indie bookstores and what
So important.
champions they are of writers and books in general. But A Book for All Seasons, which I referenced, which is here in the village, has been shelving my books since the very beginning, and they connect readers literally from all around the world. I get so many DMs, emails, messages from readers who in the East Coast, New York, Florida, you name it, who were like, I was in Leavenworth, Washington for vacation and went into A Book for All Seasons and found your book, and now I'm obsessed with Sloan, which is such a gift because this is a very tourist-centric town. So it's a really fun feature for them to have Death on Tap as a little souvenir. They talk about readers come in, and because it's a cozy escape, I think people are looking for vacation reads. But Death on Tap still, it was originally published in 2018, is still their number one bestseller, which is just incredible to me.
Yeah.
It's such a gift to get to have those connections with the bookstore and with the readers and put it all together. So
Yeah, they were, you were talking with the owner of a book for all seasons, and they just told you like, oh, by the way, they had hit a milestone in sales for the book. And it was like, well, we had to go to Seattle anyway, so we'll head over to Leavenworth and meet up at a book for all seasons.
as you do.
Yeah.
Okay, I promised I would answer some of your burning Sloan questions. And in addition to the number one question, which is when and if Sloan will ever come back, I often get asked about the shorts. I wrote 3 Sloan Krause short mysteries. So these are all like little novellas. You can read them individually. They do line up in terms of the timeline with the rest of the books in the series. The main question I get asked about the novellas is, are they in print? And the answer is yes. We put together a print collection a couple years ago. So originally they were published as ebooks because you cannot do a print copy of a book a novella that's like, I don't know, 25,000 words. You get this like tiny little comic, right?
I mean, you can do a print version, but the problem is that bookstores don't want to stock something like that because it's too small. Second, readers would be upset about the cost of that, because at a certain point, the cost of printing a book, you can only go so low.
Right.
There's a minimum cost to do that, and it just doesn't make sense to do one at a time. So we did all 3 together, and if you look at the books online, you'll see that I believe that there are books 5.5,
Yes.
6.5, and maybe 6.6. Now I'm going to have to look that up. But anyway, if you look,
Don't
the 0.5 means that it comes in between 5 and 6. 6.5 means it becomes between 6 and eventually 7.
Yeah.
So if you want to read everything in order, that's what you need to look for.
And like everything else in the series, each book can be read as a standalone. The same goes true for the novellas. But if you've been following Sloan's story arc all along, there are some little nuggets of subplot and backstory that get woven in. The collection of shorts in print is available at bookstores. So if you search for the first pour, right?
5. 6.
First pour.
Oh, first pour. I
What's the
thought you
name of
said
it, right?
the
All of
first
a
4.
sudden,
We're talking
yes.
numbers, and I got confused. Yeah.
I forgot what I
Yeah.
titled it. Yeah. If you search for the first pour, either on my website or, you can buy a signed copy from a book for all seasons. They are out in print. So you can definitely do that. The other question I get asked all the time about Sloan is audiobook. When is audiobook coming? Are they ever going to be available in audio? The first few were available in audio. The way audiobook rights work is that the publishing houses sell those separately. So I have no control because they have to go out and sell those rights. And sometimes they sell them right away and the books come out. And then because this series got canceled at book 5 by the publishing house and then we picked it up, we haven't reached out for audio for book 6 and for the shorts yet because, again, I want to re-release the whole package with the book 7. So audio will eventually be coming. When book 7 comes out, it will be like, boom, here you go. You can have all of Sloan back, full catalog, print, ebook, and audio.
Is Sloan going to end at book 7?
I don't think so, because I have quite a few ideas of things that need to happen after that. She's just really like come into her own. We were walking by her little cottage earlier this morning. Like I have had pages and notebooks of ideas of where I would love for the series to go next.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, okay. Well, what other questions do readers constantly ask you about Sloan?
Readers constantly ask me why Leavenworth.
Yeah.
And this is why, right? It is the quintessential beautiful Bavarian village. We are literally right now surrounded by mountains as far as you can see. The sky is crystal blue. There's a little tiny touch of snow left on the peaks. Green hills. Yesterday we went on a walk around Blackbird Island, which if you've read the series, you would be familiar with, darlings. There were bear warnings. We saw the evidence of where a bear had slept the night before.
We saw bear prints.
We saw bear prints.
That was cool.
We saw deer.
Which is funny because, I mean, having lived in Ashland, we saw bears all the time, but it is fun to think about them being in this area. We saw deer swimming.
We saw deer swimming and then went out.
That was the first time we ever seen deer swimming, but we saw them crossing the channel. That was really cool. Never knew.
Never knew. I think just because there is such a light, festive, cozy, fun atmosphere here in the village, it just makes sense to me to set a cozy here. And when we first came, I was immediately like, I have to set a series here. The second thing that is always on a list, or I guess we're probably at number 5 or 8 or something by now, is, am I a brewer? Have I ever brewed beer before? The answer to that is no, absolutely not. The tech guy dabbled in home brewing for many years, and when I was first sketching out this series, that was the inspiration, was watching you do that process.
Yeah, and it was a great hobby. It was super fun. We don't have the space now in California, but wherever our next adventure takes us, I'm hoping that it has space to get back into it because it was fun. Brewing beer mixes like science and arts and creativity, and then the end result is amazing because you get to drink it. So as long as you do a little research and a lot of practice, you can generally make some pretty good beer. And I had 2 or 3 that I were my go-to recipes. My favorite of all was Rainbows and Unicorns IPA, named by Sky Guy, actually. Yes. Our son named that one. He didn't drink the beer at the time. He just named it that. And I did have a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun to be brewing while you were writing the series.
Absolutely. The tag-along question that I get to that all the time is, do I need to be a fan of beer in order to enjoy the series? And the answer to that is absolutely not. No. Beer, yes, of course. Sloan runs a small brewery, so it weaves its way into the series. But I have heard from so many readers over the years that are like, I despise beer. I never want to drink a beer. This is my favorite series. Like, because it's so much more about this, about a little touch of Bavaria. It's about the outdoors. It's about the food that weaves into beer. And then it's also, really like a family saga. And Sloan's a really strong female lead character. I love writing her. This is not a spoiler, but at the very beginning, we learn that she and her husband are in the process of getting a divorce. But I love writing that it's not, yes, of course, there's angst involved with it, but it's not this awful, contentious kind of thing. And part of her growth arc is finding her way back to a friendship with her husband. So I love all aspects of writing about Sloan, and beer is just one of those that you don't have to be a beer fan to enjoy the series.
You don't have to know anything about making beer. You don't have to drink beer while reading the books, although I would recommend it. But no, that question always surprises me, actually, because I know for a fact that you have Bake Shop Mystery readers who do not bake.
Sure, absolutely.
But no one ever asks, do you need to be into baking or like pastries in order to read the Bake Shop Mystery? So I think that there is definitely a stigma around beer and brewing, and just it's kind of a mysterious world. Like, people who have walked past a brewery see those big shiny tanks and they're like, whoa, that looks super complicated. I couldn't understand, but you don't go into the necessarily too deep into the science. I think you take like the writing that you do in the Bake Shop Mysteries and how well you describe food and the process of baking and everything, and you do the same thing in Sloan, and it makes it really accessible to anyone and really interesting. I mean, we've heard from so many readers over the years who knew nothing about brewing, nothing about the process, don't like beer, but they love the series and they've loved learning about how beer is made.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, the tanks are great for hiding bodies, too. So with that.
Yeah, that may happen. So just FYI.
The other question I get asked very often about Sloan is, if I come to Leavenworth, where should I go? What are the places? And we touched on this a little bit with the 2 breweries, which are Icicle and Blewett, Keller and Nitro, respectively. But then pretty much anywhere you go in the village, you're going to recognize. You're going to see the maypole and the center of town square, and you're going to be able to walk the same path, and you can go to Blackbird Island. You can walk a little farther down the main street here, and you'll run into Sloan's Cottage, which is really a guest cottage as part of the Enzian Inn, which is right across the hotel. But as I describe Leavenworth in the books, if you visit, it's going to feel very real because it is.
It is. And make sure that you start and end your trip at A Book for All Seasons.
For sure. Yeah.
But yes, there's beer, wine, brats.
So many
Lots of brats.
chocolate.
Lots of Bavarian food. I know we've described this a million times, but the way that this all works, I know there are a number of people who probably never heard it, but literally every building in Leavenworth is fashioned in the Bavarian style. So even places, there's a Starbucks here. Their sign is hand-carved wood, so the Starbucks logo is in like a Bavarian style. As we sit here recording this, we're sitting across the street from Wafet Bank, and their big sign is in carved wood in the Bavarian style. And the buildings are just amazing. I mean, every building is just amazing to look at. So many murals.
Oh, yeah. Hand-painted murals, wood carvings, rock carvings, waterfalls, gardens. And that's just Leavenworth proper. You can go 5 minutes outside of town, and then you have high alpine lakes and hiking trails and mountain biking and kayaking.
And you talked a little bit about the mountains that's being right here, but in order to truly experience it, because we've posted, I don't know, hundreds at this point, pictures of Leavenworth and video and everything, that nothing can do it justice. That the mountains are so close to town that as we sit here recording this, the 15 minutes, I could just walk across the street and be walking up a mountain. I mean, they're right here.
It's really hard to not just like go Sound of Music on myself and just like spin through the hills. The last question that I get asked very often about Sloan is, when should I visit Leavenworth? And really, like, I don't think there's I'm not getting paid by Leavenworth to promote the town or anything like that, but I don't think there's a bad time of year to visit. In spring and summer, it's this verdant, lush green and blooms, and you can be outside, you could float the river, you go for a hike.
We'll drop a link to the official Leavenworth website and the show notes. But the one thing that you need to know about the town is that it any time of the year there's a festival going, probably multiple festivals going. And so, with the exception of winter and the Lights Festival, the only time winter it might be a bit of a challenge is actually getting here,
right?
Because of the snow, because it snows a lot here in Leavenworth. I think, what have we, 90 inches a year, I think is about what they average. So but it makes this place even more magical when it does snow. So.
Yes, and fall is gorgeous because you have obviously all of the fall color, Oktoberfest, and then, as the Czech guy alluded to, winter is Christmas markets, and then winter lights from December all the way through March now. So you come and see the stars, and then there's winter ice carvings. There's really, it's all about what you like in terms of seasonality. But I don't think that there's a bad time that you could come visit.
Yeah.
And should they come visit?
Absolutely. I don't want to go home. I want to stay. Can we stay?
Next time. It just means we're going to have to come back soon.
All right.
All right. Well, on that note, darlings, till next time, from Sloan's little version of Bavaria.
Yeah, and if you have other questions about the Sloan Krause Mysteries or Leavenworth itself, be sure to click that send us a message link in the show notes and let us know what you want to know. So with that, until next time, Prost.
Prost.